What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Today, simple question. Do bounties move the needle for you? I'm genuinely curious. This has been the rage for a while now. I feel like it really popped off with the Lord of the Rings thing. Spitball and Cards was talking about this the other day. I'm sure there was ones before that. In fact, I know that there were. But it feels like the Lord of the Rings one of one, $1 million, $2 million, whatever the hell that bounty was the one that kind of took this thing to the whole next level, or at least really put it on the map. And, recently we have the 150K David Adams bounty on the MLB debut patch. And I was just genuinely curious for my viewership. Does this stuff move the needle for you? Are you like, you know what? You're telling me there's a chance and are gonna roll the dice. Did you buy Update thinking in the back of your mind, I got a shot at the debut patch. Let's do this thing. Do these creep into your wallet when you're about to make a purchase? For myself personally, I don't think that they do, at least the high-end ones. I'll use an example. I bought a box of Lord of the Rings Collector's Edition where the 101 ring was, but I didn't open it. I still have it sealed. It's sitting behind me. The Topps Chrome update that I just bought, that I opened, earlier this week, I don't know. Maybe in the back of my mind, I wouldn't have used the MVP buyback on that product if it wasn't for not so much. I'll tell you what it was for me on the update. It wasn't the bounty on the Volpe. I'll be honest. It was the fact that the one of ones existed for me personally. It was, I know, because I knew Topps Chrome Update is a meh product this year. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. It just depends on the checklist. I knew in my heart of hearts that particular product was not great, but the idea of the 1 in a million shot at hitting the one of one bounty, that lottery ticket like aspect, I think definitely creeped into my mind. But I don't think the fact that there was a 150K bounty had any part in it. Because in the back of my mind, I wasn't like, I think I could pull the Volpe. It was just like, it would be really cool to pull any one of these, even if it was a 37-year-old relief pitcher. So for me personally, I think that's how that played out with Update. But for Update for you, did the fact that this bounty was out there move the needle, or bounties in general? The big bounties don't, for me, like I said. The fact that the card existed, I think did. So that's question one. Question two, do you think they're good or not? Are these healthy for the sports card world, market, hobby, whatever you want to call it? Or is it a two-pronged tool? One, they could use it to play into, unfortunately, what the hobby is shifting more and more towards, and really has been for months, if not a year plus now, is more leaning into the gambling aspect of it. Of, there's this $150,000 jackpot out there, and maybe you could pull it. It feels like to me they are leaning more into that aspect of it, that gamble-like nature, the chase, the, oh my God, open a pack, change your life type situation. I think another part of it is that it's a marketing ploy. It makes for great marketing. They announce something like this, and once again, this is through David Adams, not Topps or Fanatics, but once again, Spitball and Cards did a great video about this, a little roundtable discussion, and other people have talked about this too, which is they just did this topic, and it's kind of fresh in my mind from them. Where does the 150K come from? Is that David Adams cutting that check, or whoever's offering the bounty? In this case, we're using this particular example. Are they getting taken care of on the back end? It's like, hey, you guys pay this out, and maybe we'll take care of it on the side. And then really, truly, I think some of them, if you're kind of first to market with the bounty, like I could come out right now tomorrow. I'm offering a $50,000 bounty on the Anthony Volpe 101 debut patch. right now. I'm not spread it. I'm not actually, but you know, you could come out and say that, and you know you're safe because someone's going to come out with $150,000 bounty on this thing, or one is already out there. So I think sometimes smaller entities use it as a marketing ploy for their own benefit of, hey, we know we could toss this number out here. This card's going to sell for way more than that anyway, so they're never going to accept our bounty. So I think there's that aspect of it as well. Like the Lord of the Rings 101 thing, there was that huge bounty on it of 2 million or whatever it was. David Adams, I think it was David Adams that had that, got all that pub from it. Got all the press from it. Everyone, all the content creators are talking about it. Everyone on social's talking about it. People are TikToking about it. And the person that pulled it didn't even cash it in. They sold it to Post Malone or whatever. So DNA got tons of marketing out of it. Wizards of the Coast got tons of marketing out of it. And neither one of them had to pay a dime. Free advertising. I mean, that's a good day's work right there. Now, there was a chance they had to pay it out, obviously, but maybe they knew that someone was willing to pay more than that. Maybe they know someone's willing to pay more than $150,000. The fact that the $150,000 bounty exists almost artificially inflates the price of everything else. Because now, if you're a Yankee super collector or a Volpe super collector or super rich guy or whatever, I wonder if David Adams knows they're going to blow this price out of the water anyway. If I'm, if I live in New York, money's no object. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a rich dude. And I went the Volpe 101 debut because, in all honesty, and this is no shot against the card, the 101 debut patch might be the best modern card ever made. It is such a great idea. The card itself is a fantastic card. To me, it is the grail of grails for an ultra modern rookie card. So if someone wants that, they're going to beat the bounty. If someone truly wants that card, as soon as it surfaces, they're going to contact the person and be like 200K, 250K, 300K, whatever it is that it sells for. And in the meantime, David Adams, Topps, Fanatics, and whoever else puts bounties out. Once again, we're focusing on David Adams because they happen to have it here. Gets all that publicity from it. Is that good or bad? Is that good pub or bad pub? And I mean that from a sense of for the hobby. Because you're not playing the collectors. A Yankees collector, an average Yankee collector is never going to own this card unless they get extremely lucky. You're playing up the gambling-like nature of the sports card world, and I don't know that that's the best place to be. That's probably a topic for an entirely separate video. Now, I will say, if you want to call this a bounty, this 100% influenced me. This does 100% move the market, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people chase this, and that's the MVP buybacks. That is basically a bounty. It's on a micro scale. The payouts are less. This I like. This, to me, is fun. One, you know it's coming. You have all season. You get to kind of play the game of like, I have my little stacks of guys on the desk that I had kind of made up when I opened Topps Chrome at the National, and I was like, okay, here's my Ohtani pile, here's my Acuna pile, here's my Betts pile, here's my Freeman pile, here's this one, and then kind of like shuffle them around as things would happen. Oh, Ohtani got hurt. Let me dig out all my Corey Seagers. It's much more lower stakes, but I could tell you right now, MVP buyback 1000% influenced me buying those Topps Chrome boxes at the National. That little added extra chase of, oh, well, if I had an Ohtani or an Acuna base, I mean, at the time we didn't know that for sure. It was leaning that direction. But if I hit a base card of some random superstar, I might be able to turn it into $20. Now, all of a sudden, the cost of the box is down from 120, 140, whatever they were, down to 120, $100, depending on what you got them at. Stuff like this, I actually like. Because this, to me, if you want to call the buyback a bounty, which I do, I think it is a bounty to a little bit different degree. This is a common man bounty. Any one of us can hit these, obviously. The 101 Volpe, whole different story. This, to me, does not play into, at least as much, the gambling-like nature of this. There's a little bit of a gamble because maybe you could take a risk on, oh, Freddie Freeman's really tearing it up. I think he's going to catch Acuna. Let me go out and buy some of his cards. I mean, that's on you if you're going out and buying singles on the secondary market. I'm talking about this more from the perspective of ripping wax. But this, to me, the MVP buyback, one, I think is a complete success. This could almost be its own separate video as well. Some of the MVP buyback amounts you are seeing turned in at these stores are astronomical. Astronomical. I saw one the other day on Twitter that was 50K. I saw another one that was like a YouTube video from one of the shops that someone wheeled a wheelbarrow in. Now, I don't know if that was staged, real, whatever, but it was wild. I talked to a couple of my local stores here. They've turned in thousands of dollars worth of stuff. I think it's a fantastic program. This kind of stuff I like. I don't know how I feel about this kind of stuff. I guess in all reality, it doesn't affect me. I guess, once again, I don't think I ripped update thinking I was going to hit the Volpe. I ripped update for the chance at potentially hitting a 101 debut patch, which obviously is astronomical, but that was definitely in the back of my mind a little bit. But I do think these big time bounties like this do lean a little more into the gamble-like nature of what the sports card world is turning into. So, curious for your thoughts and comments, as always, down below. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.